Welcome back into the Allen Hour. I'm your host, Dylan, joined by Dan and Andrew for one final time, college football related. We got the national championship on the horizon on Monday night, and it's been a long awaited national championship game with the gap in between the semifinals, and now we're finally here. It's going to be Indiana and Miami in Miami at the Hurricanes home stadium where they share Hard Rock with the Miami Dolphins. So, a lot of storylines in this one. Fernando Mendoza from Miami. Miami obviously playing a true home game. There's so much to talk about. Indiana had a huge win against Oregon in the semifinal round. Andrew and I were at that Peach Bowl. I got a shirt to bring
There you
home
go.
with me to kind of remember that, but that was truly something. And then unfortunately for Dan, I mean, it was a heck of a game losing to Miami, Ole Miss with the loss 31-27, and it came down to the wire. Carson Beck, a last second touchdown to pull ahead for Miami to get the win. We didn't get a chance to talk to you since then, so I'm going to give you the floor and just kind of give us your thoughts about how that game unfolded and just take us through how you were feeling because listen, Ole Miss was right in there until the very end.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys giving me the time here. I wanted to say a couple things about Ole Miss. That game that they played against Miami was one of the most fun college football games that I've watched. That and the Georgia game. The Ole Miss Rebels had a fantastic season. With everything with their coach losing their coach, going into the playoffs. It just continued just to motivate them, and they played really well in the Georgia game and the Miami game, but just fell short ultimately to Miami and Carson Beck. I was watching that game and I was upset with just like the defense and how they just couldn't tackle. But that's been a theme pretty much all season that their defense is pretty subpar, and they did a lot of additions. They got a lot of additions in the transfer portal this year. Obviously lost a couple, but hopefully next year they come out and and Trinidad gets another year, which I'm hoping for. He just sued, so he just put the lawsuit in. So I'm really hoping that he gets another year. We got a couple transfer quarterbacks, but yeah, I mean, just super proud of the Ole Miss Rebels and how they play this season. I'm hoping to get to a couple games next year. They open up their season in Nashville, so that'd be a pretty cool time. But yeah, I'm just really proud of how they played and just like they had just so much fight in them, like they never gave up. Again, with just losing their coach is that was probably the hardest thing. They probably had the best story out of all in the college football playoff, but now it's time for Miami and Indiana, which I'm very excited to watch as well. So I'm looking forward to it. Miami, obviously, a home game for them. I don't know how many fans they have coming out to those games, but yeah, and as you mentioned with Mendoza, you know, he lives right around the corner from them. Alberto said that when he was transferring from Cal, Miami had made a late push for him, to be the quarterback of Miami. So I'm really looking forward to that. But I'm really proud of the Ole Miss Rebels and how they, overcame everything that they did this season. I'm looking forward to 2026. Hopefully, Trinidad is our starting quarterback next year.
That'll be an interesting development because they declined his waiver, right? And now they're going after the NCAA to
Yeah.
see if they can somehow get us another year for him. I
There's
don't
other
know
quarterbacks
how
that
that
have like
works.
7 years. There's other
Hey, listen, I
quarterbacks that
get
have
it.
7 years. I don't get it, man. But whatever. We'll
I
figure
get
it out.
it. And for a guy who was at Ferry State, I feel like he should be given another year. But at the same time, I would also advise him to go to pro because now that Moore
Yeah.
is out of the picture this year, next year's an even more loaded quarterback class. And I get maybe you don't want to play for the Jets, but if you're him, right? I mean, you're a kid that was at Ferry State a couple seasons ago. You transferred into Ole Miss. You were slated to be the backup. Then you get the job and you win it and you go on this huge run. You showcase all your skills. I feel like this is the perfect year for him to go pro and to test those waters and potentially not roll the dice for next year to try and get another year of college experience. I do think this could be the year where a team like the Jets or maybe another team takes him as a sleeper pick in the late first round. Maybe they trade up. You never know because he's been showcasing his abilities and he looks like he has the tools that NFL teams are looking for. So that'll be an interesting scenario there. Now, the spread was 3.5. Miami won the game by 4 points. Dan and I, you and I were both on Ole Miss plus the points there, so we lost on the final play of the game. Andrew, yet again, correct with Miami. So just wanted to get your read on that game as well.
Sorry, my mic was off. So the first thing I said when we previewed that game was that I must have erased and rewrote my pick 4 or 5 times, and it ended up being true that that number was actually perfect. And it felt like to me at halftime and even into the third quarter a little bit that Miami should probably be winning that game by a couple scores, if that. But they did not get it done. They kept Ole Miss in the game, and eventually Ole Miss started to make them pay for it. Now they did end up winning in the end. Miami played a great game, but yeah, it was testy, and Ole Miss was going to do that to you. And I had a feeling that even if Ole Miss was in this game, maybe they'd be more of an underdog than 8.5 points, like Miami's sitting at right now. But they would fight, man, and they were fighting all year long. Another game where Miami really didn't get to the quarterback and put him on the ground, just like Georgia against Ole Miss. So it was really fun to watch Ole Miss, and it's disappointing that they're not going to be in this game. But yeah, I'm hopeful for Trinidad Chambliss. I'm kind of tired of all the quarterbacks getting like 6, 7 years, no joke. But Trinidad, we've only really gotten 1 year of him, right? Because he was at Ferris State, like you mentioned, all his time. And it would be really fun to watch him, an electrifying player like that, selfishly stay in college football, even though he could probably get a lot of money right now to go to the NFL. But yeah, it was a great game. I'm glad that I ended up with the Miami -3.5. Although, I would have been okay with Ole Miss winning that game. They were that much fun. So yeah,
Appreciate
looking
that.
forward to the Natty. But yeah, maybe we'll talk about Ole Miss next year at this point. Being in the Natty, who knows? They're doing well in the portal. But yeah, really good game. Really excited to watch.
Hey, you never know. Uh, let's go to the other semifinal game because you want to talk about games that were not games that were not competitive, and that's one of them. Indiana absolutely routing Oregon in Atlanta, 56-22, the final score there. And it was from the first play, from the jump, a pick six to start the game. And Andrew, you and I both agreed. I mean, the stadium atmosphere that was going on when pick six happened. I mean, it was absolutely just you can't describe how loud it was in that stadium. And it didn't help that for Oregon, at least, that it was already at least 85-15 or 90-10 in favor of Indiana fan wise. There was so much red in that stadium. It was you could have told me that was a Falcons home game, like with all the red I was seeing, and I'd be like, yeah, it makes sense. There was so much red in that stadium, Dan. I, it was unbelievable. And from the first play, you heard it right away, and it was a constant noise the entire game. And it doesn't help when IU offensively just gets the ball and just cruises down the field seemingly every drive and just doesn't allow Oregon to get any momentum. I thought maybe they had a sliver of chance when Oregon, after that pick six, responded with a nice lengthy drive to go down and tie the game. But right after that, Indiana just kept going, didn't skip the beat, and just, I don't know what it is, man. Fernando Mendoza, when he's under pressure, it does not matter. You sit back and play man coverage or zone. He just picks you apart. Whether it doesn't matter what you throw at him. So this is why this game against Miami to me is super interesting, because so far we haven't seen a defense be able to get after Mendoza and rattle him yet. It's been to a point where when you try and bring pressure, he's been thrown to the right guys. He's looking at the right area of the field. He's throwing it where it needs to go. So now with this game against Miami, it's going to be interesting to see what Corey Heatherman, the defensive coordinator for Miami, draws up to try and get him off his game. I'm curious to see what that could potentially be against the Hurricanes.
Yeah, just looking back at that Indiana Oregon game, I mean, you nailed it. When we were walking around, just the whole build up to it, it might have been like 15-1. Like you saw 15 Indiana fans for every Oregon fan. Like that, it was insane. And I didn't expect that just because they haven't been there before, right? But Indiana is such a huge alumni base, and they really showed out. So while this is a home game for Miami, I don't expect the noise level to be like overwhelmingly in Miami's favor, because Indiana's going to travel well. Again, haven't been here before. They're going to be there. Now, going back to the actual Indiana Oregon game for a second, and I'm glad you mentioned this because Dylan won't toot his own horn, but I'll toot it for him. Against Alabama, I bought the 7.5, the 8.5, the 9.5, the 10.5. Well, Dylan did that exact same thing against Oregon, something that I was not as confident in. And man, he nailed it. Turns out he could have gone up to higher points than even I could have gone up to with Alabama, but no. But and I blame Oregon for tricking me a little bit, because Dylan did point this out. After the pick six, they went right down the field, had like a 14-play drive, and looked incredible and scored a touchdown. And I wanted to bet Indiana again after Oregon scored, but I was like, that was kind of like a good drive. Maybe they're going to stay in this game. They tricked me. Dan Lanning's a fraud for like one of the 4th downs he didn't go for. But yeah, no, it was incredible atmosphere. Again, the loudest stadium I've ever been a part of when that pick six happened. It was insane, absolutely insane. I can't wait to talk about the next one.
Dude, I was
I mean,
watching that game. I'm sorry, Dylan. I
no,
was watching that
you're good.
game, and I was up with my friends, and I was like, this is just like, you couldn't, like, if you told me that Indiana was going to blow out Oregon, I would have been like, come on, like, not by 30 points, but and what a game. I also started buying points for Indiana because that story that they have, just like that school, like just going from an absolute like shitter of like a football program just to like what they are now, and with Kurt Signetti. I was hoping it was Indiana and Ole Miss. That would have been just 2 really good stories, but still, I'm excited for this next game as well. Just wanted to get that in.
I mean, the score was 35-7 at the half. It
Yeah.
just was unfathomable what we were watching, because it was just mistake after mistake for Oregon, and Indiana just kept on capitalizing on those mistakes. And I don't want to harp on the game too much, but I mean, you talk about the pick six on the very first play of the game, right? They fumble later in the half, they fumble again, and they missed a field goal going into the half. That was Oregon, like their first half, outside of that touchdown drive they had to respond after the pick six. It just was a disastrous half. And to IU's credit, they responded and they just made the plays. And even the deep throw to Becker, I don't know the yardage, how far exactly that was, but I remember they were up pretty handedly in the game. They just kept applying pressure. They just took a shot down the field. Becker had one-on-one coverage, and Mendoza has been laying just money balls in the bucket the entire season. And that was it. Like, after that play, you just kind of felt it in the air. You're just like, all right, that's pretty much going to wrap this up. So, it was very just eye-opening to how good this IU team is on both sides of the ball. And to me, at least, I'm going to segue this into the championship game. It solidified it to me as this is the team of destiny. This is the 2019 LSU squad that just you can't beat. This is last year's Ohio State team that you just can't beat in the playoff. You can't touch them. And that's where I'm going to lean with this game. It's a high ass number. 8.5 points is currently where it sits. It's truly a big number. And I look at it and I go, Miami's been playing great defense the entire tournament. That pass rush has been great. But something just tells me the team of destiny cannot be stopped. I am going to give my pick right now. Indiana, I'm going to lay it minus the 8.5. I have been on them the entire season. Okay, I'm not going to switch up now and try and get too cute. I would rather lose with Indiana than lose by picking Miami and trying to be too cute and going against the team that has A, won me money a lot this year, and B, just to me, again, the team of destiny. So I'm not messing with this juju that's going on right now. I am just going to happily watch tomorrow night and hope to be right. And listen, as a Rutgers guy, Andrew, and you are as well, I typically don't root for Big Ten schools in any sports. If it's not Rutgers, it's tough when your own conference is flourishing and it's not your team. But because I've seen Indiana at its very, very low points as a program, to the point where Rutgers used to go to their schools to clinch bowl games. Like that was the reality 2 years ago. To see this ascension, I'm not jealous of it. I want it for Rutgers. So I am rooting for them to just get there. Our cousin Dean also going to school there helps. But it's like, it's just so much fun to watch. I can't root against it. I love Signetti. Fernando Mendoza. I love the post-game press conferences. You can't hate any of it. So I'm just going to lay the points, the big number, 8.5 points. I'm going to sit back tomorrow, and I'm just going to hope they win the game, and I'll gladly lose $10 or whatever it is that I bet on the game. They don't cover the points. I just hope they win. But I'm going to just stick with the bread and butter that has been money for me all season long. Hoosiers minus the 8.5 for me. That's where I'm going.
Andrew, you can go first.
All right, I'll go first. I'll get it out of the way. I have a feeling that I'm going to be the only one on this side of the game, but I'll explain why. So I start every game preview with a question on my note sheet here, and the question is: will Miami eclipse 100 yards on the ground? That to me is the most important factor in the game. They were well over 100 yards in every single playoff game so far. Miami, Indiana hasn't allowed 100 yards in the college football playoff yet. They allowed 23 to Bama. They allowed 93 to Oregon, but one of them was a 70-yard 1-yard run, right? So not much there either. But why is this so huge? So Indiana has allowed 90 plus rushing yards in 3 games this year. That's it. 3 games. One of them, Old Dominion, they allowed 218 yards. That was the first game of the season. They did only win that game by 13, but yeah, they won. They had 218 yards on the ground, Old Dominion. Second, sorry, I'm a little sick, so if you hear the sniffles, just ignore it. I know people don't like the ASMR. I don't like it either. Okay, Iowa ran for 92 yards against Indiana. Indiana won that game by 5. Penn State put up 117 rushing yards, and we all know how that game ended. Omar Cooper, a ridiculous catch. Indiana won that game by 3. Miami hasn't been held under 100 since October, and that's important because that was the Louisville game. And we saw a Miami offense that if they couldn't run the ball and were really heavily reliant on Carson Beck, he turned the ball over 4 times in that game. 4 interceptions. They only lost that game by a touchdown, but he had 4 interceptions. They only had 63 yards on the ground. What stands out to me in the last round that I really like for Miami now, they're going to have to play pretty much a perfect game to win this game, but they showed that they didn't have to play a perfect game to beat Ole Miss. And I thought that they were going to have to remain disciplined and remain to their strengths, and they really didn't, right? They lost the turnover battle. They had 1 sack in the game. They missed a field goal. They had 10 penalties. Like, they played a pretty sloppy game and somehow still beat an Ole Miss team that I thought was really, really good. Again, they're going to need to be perfect to beat an Indiana team like this because for all the reasons that I love Miami this year, for all the reasons that I've picked them to win the national championship in my sports books, and I think they're been slept on all year long, Indiana to me is the better version of Miami. I think they're more disciplined. I think they run more better. I think they score better. I think they allow less rushing and passing defensively. And I think they get to the quarterback like just as much as Miami, and that's a huge strength for Miami. So as much as I would love to pick Miami and tell you right now that Miami is going to win the game outright, I don't think they will. But I will say this. If you're going to give me possibly the better offensive line and the better defensive line in the game and give me 8.5 points, it stinks of the Ohio State game to me, where I think I had the better O-line and D-line, and I practically got 10 points. I'll take Miami to cover the 8.5, but I'll take Indiana to win. I just think their quarterback and their team in general just makes too many plays for Miami to keep up with. But if Miami can run the ball, and I think they will be able to, I think it's going to be a pretty close game.
Well, there's no shock there with the lights behind you that you were going to pick them to cover. But I actually had a question for you. What's the cash out at for the Natty bet?
Yeah, for
Okay,
the
that's
viewers
a-
who don't know,
Yes.
Andrew has a Miami future bet. I don't. When did you bet this, Andrew? Was it
Pre-tournament.
pre-tournament? Okay, so this was not before the season, but okay, but still, they were the last team in, so they probably had one of the highest odds. So you got a future on them to win the whole thing.
Yeah, if you take out the G5 teams, they were the longest shot to win, yes. Yeah, so it's very interesting, and I did want to touch on this. I thought maybe we'd touch on this in the miscellaneous aspect. So in Georgia, you can't bet. So Dylan and I had to place all our bets in Jersey, and then when we flew to Georgia, we just had to watch and couldn't cash out anything. So after Miami won the game, I have a 15. I don't care. We're not unit shaming here. I have
No.
$15 to win 400 on Miami to win the
Nice.
national championship. After Miami beat Ole Miss, it went up to 111. That was the cash out.
Mhm.
It's down to $78 after what Indiana did to Oregon. It tanked. This thing absolutely tanked. It's only gone down because it went from 7.5 to 8.5 the spread. So yeah, it's at $78. It's not worth it enough to cash
you gotta
out
let
for
it
me.
ride.
I gotta let it go because I do think honestly there is a path for them to win this game. But yeah, they're gonna need to play some perfect football.
After watching the Indiana game on the Friday night and texting you guys about it, I think that this is just their season. I'm going to take them to win, and I'm going to take them to cover. I just think that I'm going to take and I'm going to take the over in this game as well. But that's a little side bet. I think that this Indiana team is just there's just too many reasons for them, to not lose this game or to win this game. I think that they're just the better overall team, and I think that they're going to win this game. So I'm going to take them minus the 8.5, and I might start buying points up to 10 because I don't think.
Oh,
I'll let you
Oh,
know if I do,
oh,
Andrew. But I think that
it's
this
worked 2 games
team.
in a row.
I know. They're just the story is just too. It's just too. It's too good. Also, after what Miami did to my Rebels, I can't. So that's all you guys. That's all you, Andrew, for Miami.
Hey, listen, it's a big spread. Trust me. I
That's a lot. Yeah.
definitely can see a way in which Miami covers this spread and Indiana wins the game as Andrew's predicting.
Have
But
any of you guys picked Miami to cover any of the spreads so far?
no,
No.
have not faded every
So
single time. But
so
to be
you're good
fair,
now.
this is the
You're
team of
good.
destiny we're talking about here.
Exactly.
So
The
I
Cinderella story.
Well, so who were both of your national champion bets?
Ohio
on.
State. Yeah, not good.
All right.
Not good.
Come on.
No,
Mine was.
I'm just
I had a
pointing
future on Ole
out
Miss.
the
Dagger.
team of destiny for you guys was Ohio State, and now it's Indiana.
I've seen it in person. That's it.
Dude, I can't even
You're
argue.
wagging, bro.
I think I said to Dylan like 4 times, Miami's not winning this game against Indiana. Now I do think there's a path, so I'll take him the 3.5. But yeah, it's tough. And this is to me, if I didn't have money on Miami, man, I would be tooting the Hoosiers horn like the whole day because I think they're really special. And I think they're really fun to watch. And if they go on to win the national championship, I mean, Dylan and I have now seen 2 of the best teams of all time, 2019
Crazy.
LSU and 2025 Indiana in the same building. We were at the Peach Bowl when LSU was in it with Joe Burrow. We were at the Peach Bowl, obviously, with Fernando Mendoza and the Hoosiers. So it would be a great story, a great continuation of our record at that stadium.
Yeah, listen, Dan.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
The amount of Hoosiers I heard
Far.
that entire weekend that we were down there.
Probably
And
in
again,
your head.
I told you it's in my head, and I
Yeah.
told you it was 90-10 in favor of the Indiana fans. So it was just everywhere. Like on the planes, there were plenty of people from Jersey flying down for the game. It was just an awesome experience, and I envy what they have for Rutgers. It's hard to root against.
Yeah. No, I'm very, very excited to see what this fan turnout is like. Obviously, it's a home game for Miami. I'm convinced that they don't have fans for Miami. I'm just convinced. But I'm going to be I'm going to look at X, Twitter, just to see what the numbers like for how many Indiana fans versus how many Miami fans. Just because I think there's going to be more Indiana fans, even though the game
I'm
is
with you.
right around
I've
the
already
corner.
seen TikToks of people like I think it was mainly like wives recording their husbands like buying these tickets for 20,000, however much, like in total, just like spending crazy amounts of money, and they're just sitting there like almost like contemplating the decision, even though they know like it's gonna be a great time or whatever. That they're just so I do think that despite the crazy prices for this game, that they will travel well because it's true. Like, when are you ever gonna get back to this point? And like you could say Indiana found their coach. They have Hoover coming in next year. They're sweeping away the entire portal class of this next year. So you could just sit back and say, as an outsider, and just be like, you'd have a very good chance next year. As an Indiana fan, you've seen the lowest of the lows. You know that, listen, nothing's guaranteed. Let's just go while we have it. So I do think there's going to be a huge turnout. I don't know the exact percentage or number, but there has to be a certain amount of tickets allotted for Indiana fans to get.
I saw it was 35%. I think I saw it was at.
So there you go.
Yep.
So there's going to be Indiana fans. There's going to be secondary market tickets available. So we'll see the turnout. But I'm telling you, from what at least when I was talking to people at the game, it seemed like it was a similar turnout at the Rose Bowl too. Everyone's just traveling. So I'm not expecting 90-10 like we just saw down in Georgia, but I could see them having the majority of the fan base, even though it's in Miami. And I don't know if anyone touched on this. I think, Dan, you did. But the fact that Mendoza is literally from Miami and he went to high school like 30 minutes down the road from where this game is being played, the storylines, the bullet points, it's ridiculous just how many things you can connect the dots to with this game. It just, Miami, true home game, Mendoza from Miami, almost got recruited to Miami. It's insane.
No, it is absolutely insane. And the thought that, maybe this is a little off topic, but the thought that they're going to get Josh Hoover next year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you obsess about the quarterbacks. They had Curtis Rourke, a transfer from Ohio, who was pretty good at Ohio, turned into a pretty damn good quarterback in Indiana. You had Fernando Mendoza, who was pretty good at Cal. Like, he wasn't nobody thought he was like a Heisman 5-star contender. turns into a great. Josh Hoover is the best transfer quarterback that he's had. Signetti. Like right before any developing whatsoever, Josh Hoover's a stud, and like this Indiana team is here to stay. And yeah, man, as Rutgers fans, you're rooting for it because now we know it's possible for us. If we ever have the right coach and the right donors, and it's possible. It's possible to flip it around. Will they do it? No, because they're Rutgers, but it's possible. And it's the hope that
but
kills you.
IU fans were saying that same thing. No, it won't happen. It's Indiana.
They hadn't won a bowl game.
They have athletic success, though, too. It's not like they're not a football school, but they're like an athletic school.
I know, but I still can't wrap my head around it. Dan, you just said it. They hadn't won a bowl game since '91, bro. Like, this is how bad that program was. Even with Signetti there last year, they didn't win the bowl game.
Could 70% of people put Rutgers like on a map? Could they select what state?
No, no. I promise you, they can't. The number of
at least Indiana has that,
and this is the worst part. This is the worst part. It's in their own damn conference. These people can't tell you where Rutgers is because all the traveling that I did while I was in school doing the college radio stuff, like you go to these Big Ten cities and you get an Uber driver, someone that you're just talking to unsolicited for like 20 minutes at a time. And it gets to the point where they're asking, "Oh, what are you in town for?" "Oh, I go to school at Rutgers. They're playing the Purdue in basketball this weekend." "Oh, Rutgers, yeah, right. Where are they again?" Almost every conversation it comes to that. And it's like, "Oh, New Jersey." "Oh, that's right, New Jersey. That's right. Okay." Or they say Rutgers, like CK. Like it's just, trust me. I've heard it all.
Maybe one day, DI.
One day. We need a billionaire out there watching to get the checkbook out or something. Indiana's got Mark Cuban, man. We need somebody.
I know.
All our donors are dead, but that's a different discussion. Not a Rutgers pod, but all our donors are dead.
Andrew has done the research.
It's a Rutgers pod, low key.
Our donors are dead. We had Tony Soprano, and he's dead.
It's true. James Gandolfini, rest in peace.
Yep.
Andrew, the former Home Depot CEO, right, or something?
Dead.
Yeah, passed away. David Stearns, the former NBA commissioner who went to Rutgers, passed away.
We don't need to get into it, but they're all dead.
Tough.
They're all dead.
Man. It's tough. So we need our Mark Cuban.
We have
come
Elizabeth
out from
Warren.
the shadows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe if she's got some stock options, she could help us out. I don't know. It's tough sledding. Tough sledding for us at RU.
You know where it's not tough sledding though. Come on, Dylan. No.
The NYG. Okay, there we go. All right, listen. I had some stuff that's a perfect transition. I made a video on this, but this was before all of the tweets were coming out on X saying like, be patient. They're discussing the fine details of the contract. They're discussing who he's going to have to report to in this whole thing. I made the video before all that stuff came out. I figured it was a done deal. It's officially now a done deal as of yesterday. Dan, as you are a Giant fan, I'll go to you first since like I said, I already made a video on this. I'll let you air out your words and your opinions on this. But John Harbaugh, the next head coach of the New York Giants, finally some effing respect for some New York football.
I mean, finally, there's someone that's going to come in and build the culture. Thank you, Tyler Loop. I appreciate that for you missing the kick.
Thank you.
I think that you can argue this is the biggest day in the franchise's history since they won the Super Bowl back in 2011 and in 2012. Maybe the playoff game that they won against the Vikings, but I think that this is the biggest.
That game set them back years. That was one of the worst days ever.
Thank you, Daniel Jones.
Things.
Yeah, that's right. But sorry, someone that's going to come in and build culture. I'm very excited for all the memes of him and just dripped out and like in Tim's. That has me crying, had me dying laughing. But I'm ready for this new age of New York Giant football, and we can go into the season, happy that we have a head coach. I mean, Brian Dable, he wasn't a very good head coach, but he is a very good guy. I think they reports that he was calling up Harbaugh and telling him that he should take this job. But I think that he's going to come in next year, Harbaugh, and just build a foundation. The reports are Joe Shane will be a little hands off. Thank God. But no, I'm ready for this new era of New York Giant football. 5th overall pick. Maybe we get a wideout, or maybe we get the best player available. I'm very excited for this new era, this next 5 years, and hopefully he ends his career here, maybe 8 years, 7 years, or whatever. But yeah, I'm very excited for this new era of New York Giant football.
Yeah, I'll step in as an Eagles fan here. Okay,
Oh, I didn't even know that,
yeah, I
Yeah,
am an
he's an
Eagles
Eagles
fan.
guy.
Look,
Dylan.
I've seen all over Twitter.
Blame my uncle.
People try and nitpick like every single decision, every single signing. Oh, John Harbaugh hasn't won anything in a decade. The Giants haven't won anything in a decade. He doesn't need to win a Super Bowl with the Giants, okay?
Playoffs.
They need stability. They need to go into every year being like, okay, we're going to win 9, 10 games. We're going to make the play. We're going to be in it, man. We're going to be in it. They haven't been in it, And as a guy that's a fan of the Giant-Eagle rivalry, because it's a rivalry in our house, I want that. I want the Giants to be good. I cover Talking Giants for John Boy Media. I want the Giants to be good. It sucks making these sad videos. I mean, it's funny, but it sucks. Like, it is funny. I can't even
I'm
think.
sure it's funny.
And it works out for me, too. They fired Brian Dable. That's going to be my offensive coordinator now. We're going to be a great team. We're going to be back. No, but they needed something. They needed stability. And maybe he doesn't win a Super Bowl, but he makes them a relevant franchise again. And he'll transition into the next 10 years after him. So it's a huge get. And by the way, big fan of the text and font on that thumbnail for the John Harbaugh video. As a graphic designer myself, I really enjoyed that.
Thank
so there
you.
you go.
I appreciate that. Yeah,
Yes.
I figured for such an occasion, it warranted such
That video gave me
creative.
chills, Dylan. That video
Thank
gave
you.
me chills. Yeah, man.
Thank you. I do appreciate that.
Oh,
Listen,
this is my coach.
listen, I absolutely right. Everyone's saying like he's not going to get you a Super Bowl. Well, you need to win fucking 11 games to get in the damn playoffs to win you a Super Bowl. Right now, we're winning 3 games. If you're okay with that, and in October,
8
waiting
games.
until April shows up, that be my guest. I would rather, and I said this, I would rather be like the Buffalo Bills, where they just go in every year and they lose in the most heartbreaking ways. By the way,
Sure.
I'd rather be like that than where we are right now. And just hoping that, we have the 5th pick, got the 3rd pick, 1st pick, because it's just like, I just would rather be in it, be competitive, and have my heart broken. I already have it with the Yankees. We've been going through it, the 3 of us, since 2017. But again, no one is sitting here saying we want to be like the Pirates and win 60 games a year, despite all that heartbreak. No one is sitting here saying that. So it's like, I understand the goal is to win the Super Bowl. We've seen them do it with Eli, with Tom Coughlin 2 times. They beat Tom Brady. Those are historic teams with historic storyline runs. Like that just doesn't happen all the time. So we just need to be in the damn playoffs, and you never know what happens. Like maybe you get a run like that with Eli and Tom Coughlin. You just never know.
Give me 8 wins next year.
Just right. Be competitive.
Yeah,
and if you're going to lose games this year or next year, lose by a field goal, lose by a touchdown, don't blow games. Like that's
the biggest part.
That's the biggest thing. Just don't blow games next year. If you're winning games late, up by 10 plus, close them out, because this is what that hire is supposed to do with this entire new staff that he's bringing in. That is supposed to change. Now, what I found funny was that when they reported that the deal was official, it was like, oh, he's going to report directly to Mara. And I'm sitting there going, Joe Shane, he's just sitting there I just imagine those meetings. He's just sitting there going, if you're Harbaugh. Yeah, so I'm not going to report to this guy because he's out the door already. I'm going to report to the owner. And Joe Shane just has to sit there and be like, yeah, okay, we'll put that down.
Sure. Yeah.
He just kind of has to sit there. I give Joe Shane tremendous credit. We love to jump on the guy. I give him tremendous credit for pouncing on the opportunity as soon as he was fired from Baltimore. Again, I said this in my video. I believe he was out to dinner with Stefanski the night before Harbaugh was fired, or a couple nights beforehand. Then the day after, when that news broke, he completely switched and did a 180, went full on for John Harbaugh. The entire organization was making a full push. And shout out to John Mara. I read that he was pushing back all of his cancer treatment appointments, like to be involved with the hiring process, with the meetings, because he wanted to be involved with everything. So he was in there, I assume in pain, I assume probably weak, feeling weak, not 100%. And he was still in there making sure that everything was in order. So I got to give them major props for Shane, for just even knowing that maybe his job is not 100% certain. He still led the charge and got us the guy. And again, John Mara pushing back those doctor appointments and just wanting to be a part of that process, because it just shows you the love that they have for the game. They want to win. They just have to get their guy, and hopefully John Harbaugh is the guy. I'm really excited. It's already been reported that Todd Bunkin is going to be the offensive coordinator. They have to go through the hiring process there. They have to, I believe, check off some boxes in requirements to eventually be able to hire him. The big question will be, who does he bring in as his defensive coordinator? And we've seen a couple guys be brought in under his Ravens staff that have been pretty good. Wink Martindale, who Giants fans were all familiar with
Come on
him.
back, Wink.
Jesse Minter, right? I think was with him before he then left for the Chargers. And then I think and then the Seahawks coach, McDonald was also his defensive coordinator for a time before he left for the Seahawks job. So he has a good recent track record of hiring defensive coordinators. There has not been a rumored list of guys yet that I have seen, but I'm curious to see which way he goes with that, because that was a huge miss for the Giants this year with Bowen. So
yeah, I'm very
really
excited, Dylan. Hopefully, I would you like to see like Antonio Pierce come be the DC?
I'd be okay with that. He's getting head coaching interviews. I don't know how legitimate the interest is with him with other teams, but if he doesn't get hired as a head coach, that is, then yeah, I would definitely be down. There's some familiarity there. Excuse me.
Two leader of men in our locker room.
Yeah, I mean, he made the huge play against the Packers in 2007 on that screen, saved the touchdown. You look up the clip of that. So he definitely has that winning mentality. He's done it with the Giants. He's gotten them to the Super Bowl. He's been in those games. So yeah, I would definitely be open for that. But we'll see who they bring in. It might be someone that we honestly have no idea who they are, and we just kind of have to trust Harbaugh and his decision making. But again, this is also going to be a CEO type of coach where he doesn't really shine as an offensive guy or a defensive guy. He's just the guy in the middle that just brings everyone together. It's going to be a collective effort. And again, because of his good track record hiring coordinators, they get success on both sides of the field. And he just kind of sends a message to the team and gets everyone going each week. And I was reading too, like, it's hard to continue to inspire a group of men for 18 plus years with the same owner and a lot of crossover with players trying to deliver that same message. I was reading that it kind of got stale over time, and that's not a knock on the coach. It's just that, like, hey, these guys have been through so much over the years. They just need a new guy in there to kind of jolt the team up a little bit. So it'll be an interesting development. Again, Harbaugh, the coach, we'll see who he brings in as the defensive coordinator and this and that, but definitely a huge step in the right direction for the Giants. They were the first team to hire a head coach. We saw Stefanski get picked up by Atlanta last night. I think that's a good hire for them as well with all that offensive talent they have. They definitely needed an offensive-minded coach. Raheem Morris was a solid head coach there. Was not winning like 2 or 3 games a year. He was winning games. Just I think the shift needed to be with everyone that they've been drafting. Think about all their first round picks of recent years as well. Michael Penix, Kyle Pitts, Bijan, Drake London. Like, they just needed an offensive guy in there that's just going to draw up plays. And you think about Stefanski, what he was able to do with Cleveland. I'm not the biggest fan of the guy. Like, I would have been okay with him as the Giants coach. And this was before Harbaugh became available. I wasn't too thrilled with him, but given the talent the Falcons have, I think he's good enough to get that team moving with the ball offensively for sure.
Yeah, Andrew, if you have anything else, obviously you're not a Giant fan, but
no, I mean it's. I think Kevin Stefanski would have been tremendous, really, anywhere he went. But yeah, I think that's a great fit for the Falcons. I mean, Joe Shane is like a failing movie director, and like Leonardo DiCaprio just like walked in his room. Like I don't really know what else. Like Joe Shane.
Yeah.
I mean, he had to be the reason why this was like taking so long to finalize, right? He probably was like, I don't want you to report. You report to me, and then John Mara's like, well, you stink at your job, so we're gonna have him report. Yeah,
well, the biggest thing was that they had been doing it a way for so long, a certain way,
the Giant way.
Yeah, I guess if I had to guess, it was turning a bit personal, where probably Joe Shane felt that he was directly being attacked, like in that way. And they probably had to get over that. And then it was also convincing Mara, again, because they had done it in a way where the head coach always reported to the GM to the owner. And it was probably convincing the ownership group, like, hey, listen, we have to change that up too. It's not just let me bring in my entire staff. Let me really dictate the talent that we're drafting and that we're bringing in free agency. Like, I'm not reporting to the general manager. I am essentially the quote unquote general manager of this team and head coach, without having the title attached to my name. So I think a lot of that was kind of a big switch up for them. But again, kudos to the Giants for pivoting and allowing that to happen and not letting that be the reason why John Harbaugh is still looking for a job elsewhere, because that would have really sucked.
Yeah.
Like if they just didn't self-reflect and look at themselves and go like, the last 15 years, we have not been able to do it the way that we've been trying to do it. Let's switch things up. So again, I give them major credit for looking at themselves in that way and being able to swallow their pride a little bit and let Harbaugh kind of take the reins. Now, Harbaugh, this has to work out. Like he has a lot of control and a lot of power, I assume, so much so that he wanted it in writing so that none of that gets hijacked after they sign the deal to have him be the head coach. So now he has to go out there and show that he deserved all of that change and deserved all this power. So I have confidence in that, but he just has to go out there now and show it. And listen, I think Jackson Dart is going to be fantastic. I think Todd Monken, too, is going to be a great hire for him, what he was able to do with Lamar. Now, again, I don't think Lamar is coordinator proof to the point where Todd Monken leaving Baltimore, Lamar is all of a sudden going to be a bottom 20 or, a bottom 10 quarterback. He's going to be an MVP frontrunner no matter who's calling the plays. But when you look at Lamar's stats, at least in terms of passing, the production went up tremendously when they hired Monken. I think he had even 40 passing touchdowns. I believe it was either the year that he won the MVP or the year that he lost to Josh Allen. And you look at the years prior, he was kind of in that like 25 to maybe like low 30 range. And so there was a huge uptick in passing. So for Jackson Dart, where again, we don't want him running as much as Lamar, a lot of fans worry about the concussion. I'm hopeful that passing offense translates to Dart's game a little bit more. And you just see a huge swing and uptick in that. And then maybe they also pair that with a receiver at 5th overall, like you were saying, Dan, whether that's Carnell Tate or Tyson from Arizona State. So who could be someone that they look at. So, but again, now this completely changes everything in terms of player development and evaluation. And we're all just going to have to kind of sit back and wait and see kind of their strategy on how to build this team up and their roster decisions with free agents and through the draft. So it's going to be a little different. Maybe they don't go receiver 5th overall. Maybe they go with like a lineman or, they try to build up the trenches and whatnot and see what sticks. So,
well, that line of theirs was probably the best line that we've seen in a couple years.
Yeah.
Year. I think that, and kudos to Chris Mara as well. He's getting more involved with this now, obviously with John Mara. Obviously he's undergoing the cancer treatment, but apparently Chris Mara took a big step as well up. I'm excited to see, if this first year is a complete mess with John, like if they win like 5 games or 6 games with John Harbaugh in the first year, I think that fans are going to be a little more lenient with this, if that makes sense, because like we know we have a head coach, if that makes sense at all. But I'm very excited just to see what, second year Jackson Dart is like. First full season being the starting quarterback, but basically started week 4 of the season anyway. But I'm very excited to see. Hopefully, if we can get Wandale at a good price as well, we can re-sign him. And hopefully he builds up this defense. I'm seeing a lot of like maybe Lindenbaum comes, maybe Patrick Ricard comes. Imagine Patrick lead blocking for Cam Scatterville.
My God.
Oh my gosh. Amount of holes is that? Oh Jesus. That's just like an offensive coordinator's dream right there. But I'm excited to see what they do in the offseason. I think that free agents are going to be more attracted to the Giants more than ever, which is very exciting as well. So looking forward to 2026 New York Giant football. I haven't said looking forward to New York Giant football in a long time.
It's been a
while.
Very
excited.
Yep. We might take over the Exciting Whites slogan if it's Patrick Ricard and Cam Scatterbu running the ball down everyone's throat.
Sorry, Andrew. Yeah.
That'd be something. And Jackson Dart handing the ball. That's the trifecta.
I always said if they got like Marcus Freeman, the Giants, they would have completed like the trifecta of my 3 favorite college people ever is like Scatterbu, Dart, and now Marcus Freeman. So I'm glad they didn't do that. But yeah, they're exciting whites. They're exciting players. They're awesome.
Andrew, wait until we take what's his name? Garrett Riley as some like offensive assistant. Your boy from.
Yeah,
I don't want him. I was just that's another.
I don't want him anymore either. We have an offensive coordinator job open, and I still don't want him. But yeah, no, he used to be my guy. He failed.
Were you the one? Yeah, were you the one throwing eggs at your offensive coordinator's house?
Yeah, Patullo.
Yeah, Patullo.
No,
did you see that report?
I left something in his house. They found it though. Yeah, they didn't find it. No, just kidding. It's just I'm so glad that that's over. They
Well,
have like a history, the Eagles,
It's a
of like really
rotation.
good offensive coordinator, then like the worst one ever, then the really good one again. So now we're back to the really good one again trend. So hopefully that's the case.
Do you want Brian Daboll?
Yeah,
All
I
right,
would
cool.
love him. I think he'd be really good. I saw Charlie Weiss is rumored. I mean,
No,
that would
he's
be
not leaving.
freaking incredible.
Chill.
And
Dan's like,
I mean,
no.
people say Mike McDaniel. I think he's going to be a head coach, so I'm not even
Yeah,
really considering that in my head. But yeah, a lot of good options.
awesome.
Well, let's segue to the NFL playoffs to kind of recap what we've been seeing. It's been a heck of a playoff so far in the wild card, and then even last night in the divisional. Maybe not so much the Seahawks game, but definitely that Bills Broncos game. A lot to unpack there. We're filming this on the 18th at about midday, so none of the games have happened yet today. We do have some pretty good games today with the Texans Patriots at 3:00 in Foxborough, and then the nightcap Rams at Bears. So that could be potentially, to me, that could be the winner of that game could be representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. We'll see, depending on who wins it. I think that's like one of the fan favorite Bears. Everyone's been rooting for the Bears. That's not. I think every person that doesn't have their team in the playoffs, unless you're an NFC North fan, is probably rooting for the Bears, just because you don't ever really see them this far along, and that's just such a good storyline to follow along. Let's recap the playoffs thus far, though, instead of getting off track a
Let's
little
do it.
bit. Andrew, your Eagles, they lost to the Niners 23-19. We kind of touched on the offensive coordinator opening. Listen, I can't laugh. Our team didn't make the damn playoffs.
I just want a game to start
Won
with. I
two
mean, it wasn't
games.
even,
Yeah,
it
it's
wasn't even
a
the
game
first
to
game on
start
the
with, man.
schedule.
Jeez.
Like
I'm
three
just letting
games
you go
before
right
that.
to your
No,
game.
it's good. No, look, I'm like, honestly, if they won that game, it would have just been delaying the inevitable. They weren't good enough this year. So, it is what it is. Can't win the Super Bowl every year. Have been to what now 3 of the last 8 years. So you
Yeah,
can't
you're
win them
good.
all, but it's fun.
You're
No,
good.
you're
They're a
fine.
fun
Yeah.
team. I've seen everything. I've seen a lifetime of success, so I
Yeah.
can't really complain anymore.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
My question, I just wanted to just hear that. My question to you two, is: are the Patriots legit, or has their schedule been so favorable to the point where you have your doubts? Because that's kind of where I'm at. I don't want to seem like I'm a hater, because 3 years ago I wanted Drake May as the Giants quarterback, and then Drew Lock decided to just go off against Indianapolis. Or maybe that
Yeah.
was the DeVito year. Maybe I'm mixing up my years. But my point is, during the season when the Giants were playing horrendous football, that's who I wanted to be our future quarterback. So I'm not hating on Drake May when I say that. I just think that when you look at their schedule over the course of the entire season, including that wild card game against a really hurt Chargers team that didn't have an offensive line, I have my questions. I'm curious to see where you guys stand on that. Andrew, I'll let you go first.
Yeah,
I'm curious to hear what you guys think.
I mean, I'm pretty high on the Patriots, and they had a favorable regular season, and right now where they're standing at, they have a pretty favorable playoffs too. Obviously, the Houston defense is no joke, and we're going to see later today whether that's legit or not. But yeah, if they win that game, right? You mentioned they go up against the injured Chargers. If they beat the Texans, they're going up against the no-bow Broncos, so they might be sitting in the Super Bowl again, which I don't think many people expected that to be the case with the Patriots turning it around so quickly. But yeah, I think they're legit. I think it's one thing to say, their schedule hasn't been favorable, and that's totally fair. It hasn't. They've played a lot of bottom teams, but they've also beat the crap out of a lot of bottom teams. And it's not like a situation with the Broncos where you're winning games against bottom teams by one score or two scores, like barely beating these teams. So I think they're legit because I think Drake May is incredible. He has like the highest completion percentage and yards per attempt of any quarterback in the league right now. So he's throwing the ball, he's completing passes, and he's completing passes down the field. I think their defense is pretty good too, and their running game. Like I just think they're a pretty good team, and I think they're going to be a hard out against anybody. I think their lack of experience might hurt them. But yeah, I do think they're legit. I favor that theory more for the Broncos, that the Broncos are a little bit fraudulent. I mean, they just went to overtime, had to score 33 points against a team that they forced 5 turnovers against. So I think they're a little more fraudulent. But yeah, I think the Packers are legit. The Patriots are legit. Packers are not legit.
Packers are not legit. The Patriots, Dylan, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Giants had more wins against teams above 500 than they did in the regular season. Oh,
They did. Yes, they did.
yeah.
Sorry,
Okay.
Mike.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, they did.
and this team is fraudulent. This is going to be the first.
And the Giants blew like 8 games against
Yeah.
teams over
Yeah.
500.
Right.
It felt like, yeah.
this is going to be the first. I think this test, like against their defense, against the Houston defense, it will show what this team is made of. And I'm excited to see this game. The Texans offense is just completely ass. I'll be honest, it's horrible. I think that
It's a tough watch.
again, yeah, it is. I think that again, if they can beat this Texans defense, which is arguably it is, I think it's the best defense in the NFL. If they can put out a solid performance today against that defense, they only have to score. I think they only have to score 17 points to win this game. I really
Right.
don't. I don't think that Houston's offense is going to show up. But again, this whoever wins this game is going to the Super Bowl because unfortunately, the Bo Nix list Broncos are not going. The Jared Stidham led Broncos are not going to
Oh
the Super Bowl.
God. How
Come
about
on, man.
that? How about that? Like, because we're watching the game yesterday. He does the on-field post-game interview with TV, right? They go in, and then all of a sudden, Sean Payton just addresses the media and goes, "Yeah, Bo, he's got an injury. He's going to get surgery Tuesday. He's done for the playoffs." And everyone's just going, "What? Hang on, come again?
Yes,
What?
yes. Sorry. What did you say?
When?" Because he never went down during the game, never had medical attention on the field, and it just was like he got hurt, and then
He
you
was
got videos
wincing,
coming out on
whispering,
Twitter.
like
Yeah, it's just, but still, you wouldn't think it was like
exactly.
a ankle injury that required surgery, and then he's all of a sudden he's done for the playoffs. And so now, right, the Broncos, which by the way, were another team that I had my questions about,
Yeah,
not because of schedule, but because of all the one score games that they had won, kind of like the Chiefs last year. Everyone compares it to that in terms of their record. The Chiefs did make the Super Bowl, but we saw how dismantled they were against the superior Eagles team in terms of roster. Like it's just they got exposed for what it was. I had my questions about Denver. They got a huge win against Buffalo, but I mean, Buffalo gave them that game. First of all, Josh Allen. Listen, I don't know if you guys saw the press conferences afterwards. It was sad stuff. Like he was crying and he was saying that he felt he let the team down. And then Deion Dawkins was crying. Like when he found out that Josh said that, he thought he let the team down, and he's like, he didn't let us down. He's crying. Like it was a very emotional locker room. And Brandon Cooks was crying. He'd be on the team for like half the year.
he's a stud.
Listen,
He's
Brandon
ageless, bro.
I thought it was a catch, first of all.
Me too.
It's a tough call looking back at it now because of how fast it happened. And when you do pause it, you take your screenshots, he has the ball and he's down with it. But because the roll was just so fast and he just in one motion took it from him, it's kind of hard to say that he had like possession in that sense where he was down for sure and the guy ripped it. It was kind of like one fluid motion. So just that's a tough one to swallow. But Josh Allen before halftime, you can't give him the
Yeah,
ball with 13 seconds left. You have no timeouts. They just scored a touchdown to go up 7. You get the ball to start in the second half. Just take a knee, take it to the half, and reset in the second half. Instead, they try and go for the home run plays and try and squeak in a field goal. He fumbles and they give him 3 points, which ended up being the difference of the damn game. So it's just a lot of questionable decisions. And I said this during the game because it has been talked about during the season. Like, if the Bills don't make a run at this thing, given that Mahomes and Lamar, they're not in Burrow, they're not in the playoffs, like, is McDermott on the hot seat? Like, because they just continue to lose in the playoffs. Could it be a similar example to Harbaugh where the message is getting stale amongst the group and he just can't kind of rally these guys for, an 8th year, however many years he's been there, for another season after another heartbreaking postseason loss? It's a question that I have if he's on the hot seat. I wonder what you guys think.
I mean, I personally, I would say no. The only reason I would say no is because I feel like this was just a Josh Allen game, and I that's why they lost this game today. It's unfortunate. I mean, in the past, there's been games where they just give up a copious amount of points, and it's like, oh
yeah.
my god, dude, this guy needs help. But yesterday, it was just Josh Allen and the Bills really offensively in general, just giving the ball back to the Broncos a little too many times. So I don't think he's on the hot seat because I do think eventually they will win, and I think they have what it takes in big games, but they just haven't been able to get it done.
So now
I
let's.
also don't think he's in the hot seat. I'll just add that quickly.
Yeah, fair enough. Last night, before we get into the games for today, last night, I mean, the Seahawks dismantled the 49ers. 41-6 was the final score there. The Seahawks defense really shined in this game. the opening kickoff return for a touchdown from Shaheed, got the ball rolling for them, got the momentum in their favor right away. And I'll tell you what, he didn't have to do much, but Sam Darnold just didn't really make any mistakes. And he just played. Andrew, you said it yesterday in one of our group chats. You just sent a picture of JJ McCarthy and you were like, yeah, that's kind of what he did. Michigan JJ McCarthy, that is, where he kind of just handed the ball off the entire game. And it was the Kenneth Walker show.
Yeah, it was. And I'm not like a Sam Darnold hater. It's just, to me, if the game is on his back, I don't think they're going to go very far. Now, I say that, go very far. They are far. They're in the NFC Championship game. But I just mean, if they can continue to win the way they won yesterday, they could win the Super Bowl. If they're relying on their run game and relying on their defense, it's when they get relying on Sam Darnold that I think they're going to crumble, because he
Sounds
turns
like
the
Miami,
ball.
Andrew.
Yeah, well, maybe. It could be. Yeah, you know what? It kind of does. Carson Beck has zero air on his deep ball. Yeah, so it just feels like he puts the ball in harm's way too much for me to really think they're going to go far. Now, that's just somebody that bet the 49ers yesterday to cover the spread, and there's pie on my face or egg on my face, so I'm glad this is a college football pick show and not an NFL pick show, because I would not be doing nearly as well in the NFL. But yeah, I think the Seahawks have a chance if they can rely on what they're good at, and teams win that way, really good on the run, really good on defense, and your quarterback can play better because of that. So maybe they have a chance in that regard. But yeah, if they need Sam Darnold to go down the field and win you a game, I just don't think it's going to happen.
The fact that he threw one pass in the last 48 hours before that playoff game, I was all over, and I saw that spread, and I was all over the 49ers last night because, I thought that Sam Darnold, like, you've never seen him in a big game. And, I think that 49ers, obviously, they're very beat up. Maybe the NFL should have scheduled that game for Sunday, but, give them an extra day rest, but whatever. Yeah, I think that I would love to see Rams and Seahawks again, but I wouldn't be upset if I saw Bears, just for the good of our company, Dylan, as well.
Exactly. ESPN Chicago. Yeah, I listen. The Seahawks defense is legit.
Yeah.
They can run the football. Andrew's right. It just comes down to, like, if they need Darnold to make the throws, can he do it in the crunch time? Can he go drive down the field and get them those 3 points, that touchdown that they need to potentially take a lead, tie the game, whatever the situation may require? And it's a valid question to have, because the last time we had seen Sam Darnold in the playoffs, he was sacked a million times, played a horrific game against the Rams back when he was with the Vikings. Now, this is a totally different team in the sense that they can protect him up front. And it was apparent yesterday. To your point, Dan, the Niners, yeah, they were beat to high heaven. No George Kittle. He tore the Achilles against the Eagles. McCaffrey got hurt in this game eventually, like later on in the game. Tonjes got hurt in the game. It's just there were so many injuries. Brock Purdy had no time to throw. It was just all in favor of Seattle yesterday. And the opening kickoff, I should say, touchdown return, really set the table just for what was going to ensue in that one. Today, the games we have on the slate: Texans at Patriots. We kind of hinted at the Patriots, me asking about them kind of being not a fluky team, but a product of their schedule. If that's a better way to say it.
Yeah.
I too do think that the Patriots move on in this game because the Texans offense just was not impressive against a Pittsburgh Steelers defense that has also not been that impressive. And that was on the road in a cold environment. And you're going to get the same thing this week or today. And it's probably going to be colder. And you might get some snow up there in New England. We're getting some down in here in New Jersey. I don't know
got
what the
some
weather
too.
forecast is. Yeah, you got some over there in Long Island.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough game for CJ Stroud and company. I just don't see it. I just don't see it happening. Like, they had 3 turnovers. They turned it over 3 times against Pittsburgh, and it was 10-6 going into the final 8 minutes of that game or whatever. And then Pittsburgh just started to kind of unravel offensively, and that Houston defense is what won them the game. And that's what we all thought. If Houston was going to win that game, or any of these games for that matter, we all knew it was going to be because of the defense. And I just think that New England's defense is actually a pretty solid squad, and that offense for Houston is going to struggle. Drake May is a different kind of playmaker right now in terms of in 2026 than Aaron Rodgers. He's more athletic. I think that he'll be able to beat out some of those edge rushes from whether it's Danielle Hunter or whether it's Will Anderson. He'll be able to kind of break out of those pass rushes. So it's going to be a little bit of an easier time from the quarterback perspective, just being able to navigate. So I do think that the Patriots win this game. The game that I think everyone,
I'm
again,
ready.
that's a kind of like not a pick 'em, but one that actually you could see like back and forth, down to the wire, just one of the crazier games of the playoff in general. And we've had a lot of them. Rams at Bears. This is a big game. The Bears have defied a lot of odds. They had a 25-point fourth quarter against the Packers to come back in that game and to beat the Green Bay Packers on their home field. They're home once again. They play the Rams with Matt Stafford. It's going to be another cold game out there. There's been so many numbers thrown my way about the Rams not playing great in cold weather games.
I hate
And
that
that's what we
stat.
have in this game. Listen, I'm not a huge fan of it either because Matt Stafford was playing in the NFC North for most of his career. So he's used to going to Soldier Field. He's used to going to Green Bay at Lambeau Field. So I kind of take that stat with a grain of salt, but that's what I've been seeing. So it should be a fun one. The line in this one, as of right now, the Rams favored. Now I'm on ESPN's website.
So,
3.5. Am I reading that
oh,
right?
it moved. It was 4.5, 3.5. I'm
Wow.
very tapped into the NFL betting lines.
Yeah, go. You tell me the updated line. I'm looking at ESPN right now. If you're looking at the books, that they have the most updated line.
It was 4.5
4.5. Okay.
when they picked when I was watching McAfee, they picked the game yesterday Friday,
Okay.
and it was 4.5. So I guess it moved down because it's colder weather, and books probably got a lot of money coming in on the Bears. Then, if that makes sense, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that what's this? I'm actually like I don't know who to pick. I love betting on the NFL and the NFL playoffs, but my heart wants to say Rams just because I think they're the better team, but like Caleb Williams is making these stupid ass throws that I never thought that he could make, and I'm like, oh shit, like maybe like I'm like doubting Caleb Williams. Maybe this kid's like the truth, but I'm going to pick the Rams and take them minus 3.5. For the good of our company, it is good if the Bears win, but again, I think that Bears. I think the Rams are just a better overall football team. So
Don't we
take the
have
Rams.
the Rams as for our
Yes,
LA? Don't we have them
yeah,
too?
that's true. We have a lot of
So,
teams, I guess, but
so we're chilling.
yeah, but we have direct ties to ESPN Chicago with our boss Keith. So I'm gonna pick
I
them.
gotcha. Okay.
I'm gonna
I have
pick
no affiliation like these company shills on the two panel here. Okay,
There
I
it
have
is.
zero affiliation.
Who
No,
you
I
got?
do have affiliation because like Caleb Williams is like my favorite college quarterback like of all time, so I really do root for him. I'm gonna take the Rams though, because I also do have affiliation with them. I got a 15-1 future on the Rams.
This guy
No,
with the future.
Fire,
I do
bro.
have a future on the Rams. No, I think they're the better team. I think it's hard for me, like to me, and this is gonna say, I think the Bears are kind of like Ole Miss. Like you really don't know what you're gonna get. Is Caleb Williams gonna be the superstar? Is he gonna make the plays, the crazy throws, evade the pressure? But is that sustainable? Is going off and trailing by 2 scores at a time and coming all the way back, is that sustainable against a team like the Rams? I'm going to say no. I'm going to be hopeful that it is because I really do think it's a really exciting story. But the Rams, they run the ball. Matt Stafford is having a career year. He did slip up a little bit against the Panthers last week.
MVP.
I mean, their defense is really, really good too. So just all around, I think Devontae Adams really changes that entire offense too. Makes Puka just such an incredible player. Because if you look at the stats, I mean, Puka will get you there, but once you're in the red zone, man, it's all Devontae Adams. That guy just scores all the touchdowns. So I'm going to take them. I really am not shocked by the spread because I do think they're like that much of a better team than the Bears. But the Bears have that like devil magic right now that Ole Miss kind of had, where they can make more plays than you and they'll just win the game even though they're not supposed to. So I'll take the Rams. Cover the points.
I like the over in this game, depending on the weather
it's
here.
got to be low, right? It's got to
18
be
degrees.
30,
48.5. It's
48.
high. It's a high number.
Oh, shit.
I don't think that I don't think
There's all this weather BS.
besides
they're
the
gonna play football.
temperature, there's not an effect with the weather. And maybe it's a bit windy because it's Chicago. It's always windy there. But in terms of like heavy rain, heavy snow, it's going to be a clear skies there. It's just a matter of wind and temperature. But I just don't see like to Andrew's point, the way that Chicago wins this game is if they score 30 points. Like
Yeah.
it's going to have to be a back and forth. And I do think that the Rams, if they get out to that early lead, Chicago is just going to dial it up a little bit and just go pass heavy. And they're also a team that can run the football and have these big chunk runs. So I love the offenses in this game. I think the weather is maybe why this number is a little lower. Like, I think if this game was in LA, the over under is at least 50, 51, like maybe 52. So while I take the weather into account, I'm not pick 3.5 on either side. I would lean the Rams, but I'm going to take the over 48.5. So
I think it's a great pick. I think it's a great number.
I really do think it is. So that's where I'm at. I think you get Rams Seahawks NFC Championship game in Seattle. Now, I also did think we would get Pats Bills, but you know what are we gonna do there? I'm always a firm believer in like these divisional matchups in the playoffs because it's just like along the way somewhere there is definitely going to be one. It seems like every year we get one or two, and I just thought that the Bills yesterday were going to do it, man, and the Pats have to do it today. But now I tell you what, we'll touch on this quickly. Now with Andrew, you kind of touched on it with Bo Nix being out, the winner of the Texans Patriots game. Is it as simple as that winner goes to the Super Bowl, or do the Broncos have a chance to beat Houston at home?
No, I mean, look, we don't know.
We
don't know what Jarrett Stidham's going to look like. We've seen heroes born in times like this, right? Where guys just perform incredible under the lights when nobody expects it. But yeah, it's. I'm not going to be on that side. I'm not going down on that side. So I'll take the Patriots over the Texans. I think the Texans, they have a better shot against the Texans. But God, I mean, Jarrett Stidham's first start in 2 years has to be against one of the best defenses we've seen in like the last decade. Like, screw that. I would hate to be him.
Imagine.
I would love. I'd love to be him.
Well, his former team is the Patriots. So can you imagine him?
He does get a home game. They don't get to travel anywhere, and they have devil magic too. But I think part of that's
hell no, bro. This game won't even be close.
The devil magic might have been. They might be out of it because Bo Nix is hurt now.
The Patriots, but it could be close if it's the Texans, especially because I think Nico Collins he's done, right? Done for the rest of the playoffs.
He's not playing today.
It was crazy.
I don't know if he'd be inactive next week.
How about Christian Kirk? He's gonna ball out today. I'm gonna take him in the ball out today.
Glad you said the name right, unlike a fellow ESPN member of yours.
Yeah.
All these company shills I'm dealing with here.
Yeah, seriously. I think we need to give Dylan a second here.
Yeah, sorry. That's it's just because that's what I was thinking as soon as you said Christian Kirk, and then it just Andrew.
No, I think he's gonna score a touchdown today. Just like last week.
Listen, he did last week.
He
scored the first one.
He will carry the flame.
Yeah.
Give me Dalton Schultz to score first.
Dalton Schultz to score first, then
Christian. I did that last year.
You got Houston at least scoring 14 here, pal.
Yeah, at least. And I said it was 17, 14, whatever, 17, 16 around.
I'll take May first touchdown.
I tell you what,
take his over rushing yards.
We're seeing both MVPs today, or potential MVPs today. Playing.
I think we're going to see him in the Super Bowl. I think we're going to see him in the Super Bowl. I think that's pretty cool.
You think it's going to be Rams Patriots Super Bowl?
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
All right, yeah, that's how we'll end the show. Perfect. I like this Super Bowl matchup prediction. Andrew, you kind of just gave it away. Patriots Rams, right?
I think those are the clear to me two best teams remaining. I'll take the Patriots and the.
Where's the game this year?
It's in Atlanta. Come on, we can scoot back. That's our stadium. Oh no, it's not.
No, it's in Santa Clara.
I'm sorry. The last time the Rams and Patriots went to the Super Bowl, it was in Atlanta.
The 25.
You got very excited.
Gotcha. Okay, I was like, wait a second.
They scored like 15 total points. I can't remember that.
I don't think that'll be the case if they play again, but who knows?
I think
you got Rams Patriots. Dan, what do you got?
Yeah, I think the Rams. I mean, I can't pick the Broncos, so I'm gonna have to go. Whoever wins this game is gonna go to the Super Bowl anyway. So, yeah, I'll do Rams Patriots. I like that.
All right, I am along the same wavelength in terms of rematches. I'm just not picking the same NFC team. I do think this Seattle team, defensively, is good enough to beat the Rams at home. Like I understand the Matt Stafford MVP train. Like trust me, I completely get it. That offense is legitimate, but there's just sometimes where the team with the better defense makes the plays. It gets a guy like Matt Stafford, who has been money all year, to turn it over once or twice. We've seen him do it down the stretch in these past couple of games where he is turnover prone. I think that defense is going to get the pressure they need to get on him. And I just think that they will get into that Super Bowl. And because of Bo Nix being hurt, and because I think New England beats Houston this week, I think they go into Denver, they beat the Broncos, and I think you get a rematch of the Malcolm Butler Super Bowl, which should be a lot of fun. Seahawks, Patriots out in Santa Clara, which that's another interesting thing. The Seahawks go play a Super Bowl in their division, in the team they eliminated the stadium in the 49ers. So it should be an interesting playoff. We'll see how it unfolds. I'll put all of our predictions as we go along here. It should be a fun one. And then when we'll come back next week, we'll talk about the championship weekend, and we'll break down the national championship as well. We're all hoping here that it's 34-0 Indiana. Maybe not Andrew, but I think Andrew would be like selfishly, he'd be like, you know what, that's fine, 34-0. That's great story. They just the team of destiny.
It would take me a day or two.
Well, you know what? I forget you have
immediate thoughts.
Forget you have the future. I forget you have the future. So okay, we'll get all of that.
How could you forget? That's what I texted him first. I said, "Dude, this future."
Well, I forgot it when I just said like we'd be okay with the outcome of a 30-point win for Indiana, just because we're all rooting for them.
I'll tell you what, there's no team I'd rather lose my future to. How about that?
That's right.
The wagon.
That's fair. That's the team of destiny. The wagon should be a fun one down in Miami. So again, we recapped the national championship. We broke down some of the NFL playoffs and what remains there, gave our Super Bowl predictions, gave our picks for the national championship game. Hey, I'm paying attention now.
Yeah.
All the other times I don't pay attention to the damn screen, and I always miss out on that stuff.
Me and Andrew.
I'm paying attention. All right, so we'll get out of here. We got championship game tomorrow night on Monday. And then we have the NFL playoffs, the rest of it playing out today. We got the championship games next week. And then in February, obviously, the Super Bowl. So a lot to unpack in football. It's almost done. I'm going to hold on to what we have left. It's going to be a fun end of the football season in both college and the pros. For Dan and Andrew, Dylan saying, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll see you in the next video, breaking down the national championship and breaking down the rest of the NFL playoffs. So don't go anywhere. Hit subscribe, leave a like. Also, leave a comment. Follow us on all of our social media. I'll put the handles here, and make sure to subscribe once again, and we'll catch you guys next time.